Carcinisation by Elias Higgins. Crabs. Crabs! There are a great many varieties of crabs, big and small, mighty and weak, colorful and dull. But did you know that a sizable amount of these crab species are imposters? Many crustacean species have evolved into crab-like forms with many crab-like features. These features include flattened, round carapaces, long sideways walking legs, and a hidden pleon. This evolutionary phenomenon is known to the scientific world as carcinisation. The term carcinisation was originally used by the evolutionary biologist L.A. Borradaile to help describe this process. He described it as one of nature's many attempts to evolve a crab. There are two crab groups that are the focus of carcinisation: Brachyura, which are true crabs, and Anomura, which houses the false crabs from which carcinisation is focused. The main way to tell these groups apart is the number of legs, with true crabs having 4 sets of legs, and false crabs having but 3 sets. Both groups descend from a common crustacean ancestor. Why would different crustaceans evolve to be like crabs? While the scientific community has not yet come up with a definitive answer, there are a number of ideas of what evolutionary benefits crabs possess over other crustaceans. Homes and means of protection. Shell-dwelling crustaceans may evolve into crabs due to moving into areas where hiding under rocks is more advantageous than carrying around large shells from which they live in, or where in areas where new shells are not available as the crustaceans grow. For example, hermit crabs that grow too large and can't find large enough shells. The hermit crabs that evolve to use the protection of rocks rather than shells become more crab-like. Locomotion. The flattened carapaces of crabs allow for a lower center of gravity, which frees the posterior limbs for improved function, especially with the sideways walking of crabs. Essentially, when walking on surfaces, crabs are much faster than other crustaceans. There may be other currently unknown reasons that carcinisation occurs within crustaceans. Carcinisation is also a great example of convergent evolution. Convergent evolution is when different or distantly related species evolve similar traits due to similar environmental factors. King crabs are a crustacean that evolved to a form very similar to crabs, with large claws, a flat carapace, and long legs, but it itself is not a crab. King crabs are speculated to have evolved from hermit crabs, actually. Interestingly enough, some crustaceans that evolve to crab-like forms sometimes evolve into more non-crab-like forms in a process known as decarcinization. For example, an organism with a crab-like shape could evolve to have a longer body with an open pleon, much like that of a shrimp or a lobster. This could occur in Anomura because the crab traits they had previously gained were no longer useful in their current environment. For example, going back to the hermit crab that we used earlier, this population of hermit crabs that had evolved to be more crab-like could move to an area where those crab-like features were unneeded. For example, there were far more shells that they could move into. In summary, carcinisation is an unusual phenomenon within crustaceans that is still not entirely understood by a scientific community, though we have a few theories on it. Fully understanding it could further enhance our understanding of the evolutionary process and how the environment affects and changes a species.